Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anatomy of Knitting, episode 75. My name is Erin, and I'll be your host. I'm coming to you from Cork, Ireland. I've got all these cats, all in my grill right now. I'm coming to you from Cork, Ireland. It is currently July 23rd, 2015, and it is a partly cloudy day with occasional sun breaks. You can kind of see them reflected in my glasses there. It's been a bit of an exciting week. We have week in review. I've got finished objects. I've got on the needles, and then I've got some from the sewing table. So let's get started. There's Lola. The week in review, we had some house guests in. A friend of mine and his girlfriend came, and they were here for, I think, 3 days. And the boys just fell in love with him. Nathaniel, up until yesterday, they left a couple of days ago, and Nathaniel yesterday was asking me where they were and when they were coming back, and I had to, continue to say, oh, they went on a ferry. They're in England. They're not here. But we'll see them again. We'll see them when we go back to Seattle. So that was fun. We did a few fun things with them. We went out to dinner with them. There's a restaurant called Corn Store that's in downtown Cork. We did that the night they arrived and had a delicious meal. I had a 6-ounce steak with some bacon jam. And I've had something similar, bacon jam. Back in Seattle, there's a restaurant there called Skillet, and they do a really good bacon jam. The one that I had at Corn Store wasn't anywhere near like what Skillet does, but it was still good. And then what did I have for dessert? I had something chocolate for dessert. Oh, a flourless chocolate cake. And it was good. It's so good. Cork is I think kind of known as a really foodie type of city, so it's really good to go in and be able to enjoy a good meal like that. And then we went to Kinsale with them on Sunday. Kinsale is this nice little kind of seaside town, and Old Head is close by, and we've been to Old Head before. I showed you all. There was some video from it, and there were some pictures. Malcolm was giving us lectures on how to stay safe away from the cliff. Oh my dear Lord, sweetie, thank you for joining me. But I think I'm gonna have you sit over here, okay? Thank you. So we went to Old Head, and then we went down into Kinsale town. It's not really a city; it's more of a town. And it was so busy. The previous times my husband and I have gone to Kinsale with the boys, we've tried to go early for brunch, and then there's this restaurant called the Lemon Leaf that we like to go to that's really good. And it's never been hard to find a parking spot. It's just a really nice little quiet town. But when we went, the weather was spectacular on Sunday. It was sunny and warm, and so everybody was in Kinsale. And so we had a difficult time finding parking, but once we did, we stopped and ate at this restaurant called Fishy Fishy, which serves seafood. My husband had a monkfish Caesar salad, and I had this crab avocado pear thing. It was just pure crab on top of an avocado, and then I didn't really taste any pear. Maybe my palate wasn't sensitive enough, but it was good. And then by the time we actually sat down to lunch, it was the time that the boys usually are going down for a nap. So I was a little nervous about how they would behave at the restaurant, but they were spectacular. I think the only little bit of fussing was that Nate didn't have a fork, and so we procured him a fork, and he was just fine after that. And he was very insistent upon getting some ice cream, And so we did that for him because they were such good boys. And so, excuse me, we had lunch, and I think it was getting to be around 4:00 when we finally got in the car to come home. And these boys usually go down for their nap at 2, and they sleep until about 4:30. So we got in the car, and my husband started driving, and the boys immediately passed out, which was nice. And we drove home, and then made it an early night because they didn't quite get the usual nap that they did. So that was a fun and exciting day, and I know I shouldn't be that amazed with the boys and their behavior, but I'm just so appreciative that because I am lucky enough to have 2 at once, that I'm so lucky that I have these 2 boys, because they are like, I completely expected that it was kind of going to be a nightmare to keep them happy and calm, and I wouldn't get a chance to eat, and my food would get, I would say my food would get cold, but my food was cold. That's the way it's supposed to be served. But I was worried my food, I guess, was going to get warm. But I worried for nothing. So the house guests left on Tuesday, and I should have more house guests arriving today. One of my bridesmaids is coming, and she's traveling with her father right now, showing him the country. So that's exciting. And then after they leave, we have a little less than a month break before my mom and my aunt come for a visit. So it's just house guest city lately. Trying to think if there's anything in the week in review. My sewing room is all packed up because my friend and her dad are not sharing a room. So my friend's going to be up staying in the sewing room, and her dad's going to be in the guest room. So I'm going to be doing a little more knitting and spinning this week, I think, or at least while they're here. So speaking of knitting and spinning, let's move on. The first thing I'm going to show you all saw last week. This is my finished object from last week. This is my Hichufude. This is a lace cardigan, and it is currently blocked and fabulous. I think I might have blocked it a little too aggressively. I kind of wish that the edges would kind of hug in a little bit more like it did before it was blocked. It just feels really stretchy, like right here. But other than that, I am really pleased. And I wore it to Kinsale. There, and you can kind of see the color a little bit better. I wore it to Kinsale with when we went to Old Head, and my husband got a nice picture of me holding Malcolm. We were looking out at the observation area of Old Head. It's kind of hard to see the lace. There, you can see a little bit better. I'm glad I'm so pale. And he didn't get any like full view shots of the sweater, but he got a view of behind me, looking at me and the little boy looking at the beautiful view. And I know that this has kind of been hard to tell what color this is, but it is a green sweater, which you can see that it's green here. One of my commenters on Instagram could have sworn that it was blue. I'm wearing a blue shirt, and well, here, let's see if I can get it to, yeah, there it goes. It's blue again, kind of a navy blue shirt, and then this is green. So that is that. I'm pleased with that. I'm glad it's done because a sweater for my bust size in fingering weight yarn is a bit of a time investment. I believe this took me about 3 months. So, yeah, there we go. The next thing that I have, the Hichufude was, oh man, I just totally accidentally threw the tag. I think I got another one. There we go. That was knit out of the 100% Merino Superwash Volmisa in this colorway name, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Hotsie, sweetie. And it was yarn that I purchased from the Wollmeise store when my husband and I went to Munich we went to Pfaffenhofen from Munich about 5 years ago. My next finished object is the one that I was telling you about last week. I thought was going to be a finished object, and I should have brought my sock blockers, but they are upstairs on the 3rd floor, and I don't really feel like running upstairs to get them to show you. So I have some finished socks. These are the Schoppelwool Crazy Zauberball, and I don't remember the colorway number. They are merino and nylon is the content, and this is a 2-ply yarn, and it kind of barber poles and does this nice color gradation. I think I like this sock better because it has a little less of that barber pole-y part. I'm not a super fan of that. This one has a lot more of the barber poling, especially on the foot and then right here on the cuff. They're all done. Haven't worn them yet. I need to. And yeah, so again, it's my standard vanilla sock, which is I cast on 68 stitches. I knit a 1x1 rib for about an inch and a half, or till I get bored. I do about a 5 or 6 inch cuff. I do the slip stitch heel there, and then I do my gusset and the foot, and then just a regular old toe. Yeah. I just realized there was a couple of things in the week in review that I forgot to tell you about. So since we're done with the finished objects, I will pause and go back to that. We had a bit of couple of adventures yesterday. The boys and I went to the doctor. I needed to go because I have this thing right here on my forehead, which I believe is a basal cell carcinoma. And she believes is a basal cell carcinoma. This is not my first episode with skin cancer. I did have something quite similar here on the side of my forehead. I guess you can kind of see the scar right there. So I'm getting referred to a plastic surgeon who's hopefully going to do as excellent job getting rid of this thing. Yeah, that's not exactly fun, but I took the boys with me to the doctor just so because the only times that they've been to the doctor here in Ireland is when there's something wrong, because they don't seem to do child exams like they did back in the States. So I thought it would be a good experience for them to not be the one being poked and prodded, that mommy would be the one being poked and prodded. And while I was there, she wanted to do just a regular skin check because she asked, about my sun exposure. And I spent about 15 years growing up in Florida, so I got a lot of sun. And so she wanted me to, I take my shirt off so she could do just a skin check of the rest of it. So I did, and Malcolm was like, "Mommy, put your shirt on. Mama, put your shirt on." He was just so that was funny. And then in the evening, this is the really crazy adventure that we had. My husband came home, and the boys are tall enough now that they can both reach the doorknob. And so I try and keep the door locked. Sweetie, Lola is up. Hey, look at me. Lola's up here. Just so you know, look, Lola. Okay, I don't want any fighting this time. So I keep the door locked, and then I keep the key to the door kind of, they have these cabinets where shoes go in, so I just leave the keys on there. Well, the boys have figured it out that that's where I leave the keys. And Malcolm is good enough that he can find the keys, pick the right key, and put it in the lock right now. He hasn't quite figured out how to unlock the door. So they did that. When Daddy came home, they got the keys, they got the key in the door, and then I unlocked the door and opened the door. And then once Daddy came in, Malcolm was very insistent that he wanted to go outside yesterday. And dinner was ready, but, we had this cauliflower and aged white cheddar soup. And I had just finished it, and I just turned the heat off and covered it up, and I said, it's okay, we can, he's about to melt down. I don't want to have this fight with him. We can do our usual, let's go outside. And we set a timer, and our iPhones have a duck that quacks. So we say, when the ducks quack, it's time to go inside. Well, we came outside, and the thing about our front door here is that there's no way for it to be unlocked all the time. At least if there is, we haven't figured it out. So you always have to take your keys outside with you when you go outside. So we did that. But what we didn't do was take the keys out from inside the door that the boys put in. I don't know who this last person out the door, but that happened. And when that happens, you're not able to put your keys in from outside. You have to find some other way to get out or get in. And so we're there. It's my husband and myself and the boys, and we're realizing that we're locked out of the house. And even though we have this nice big window that you can see in my glasses there reflected, two of the side doors, windows, can open. We don't really keep those unlocked because we don't open those because of the cats. The cats can get out. So we keep those locked, and I wasn't completely sure that we had an unlocked window. I thought that the bathroom window, the downstairs toilet bathroom, I thought that window was unlocked. So I said, we have to try and get in the backyard somehow. The way our house is set up is that our house is here, and then there's a couple of walls that come back. There's maybe about 5 feet in between our house and the walls. And so there's wooden gates that have 2 latches that you have to latch. And so it's sort of, and you can't open it from the outside. So it's really difficult to try and break into your own house, basically. So I ended up having to scale the wall, and it's a cement wall. And so there's the wall that's in the front part of the house before the gates is short. It's maybe about waist high. So I was able to jump up on that wall pretty easily. But then I had to, the parts where the gates are back, those are about 8 foot high, at least. So then I had to get from the short wall up to the tall wall, and we have these kind of pillars. They're not really pillars. They're sort of, I guess, cornerstones maybe are a little better descriptor of them. So I had to try and hoist myself up there. And somehow I was able to. And then I had to get from the 8 foot high wall down to the concrete walkway that's between the house and the fence. And at first I was going to go, I was going to slide down face first. Well, not face first, but, front first, forwards first. And then my husband was like, you may not want to do that, because if you lose your balance and if you tip forward, you're going to hit your face into the house, and you're going to knock yourself unconscious. So, so I ended up slowly going onto my stomach and then letting myself down. I still fell on my butt and probably will have a bruise on my butt at some point. But I managed to be able to open the gate. And then was the big, and when the boys are watching me, they're seeing me, huff up onto this wall, and Malcolm is very insistent upon getting up on the wall too and helping. He's still too small to hike himself up there. But when he saw me disappear from view and then I think hear me hit the ground, he got very concerned. He was like, "Mama, are you all right? Mama, are you all right?" And I had to stand up, brush myself off, and then open the gate up. And then when he came in, he was like, Mama, are you okay? I give you a hug, Mama. It was so sweet. And so I started walking around the back of the house to see if I had left the window, open or unlocked. Because I know I had shut it. I knew that I had shut the window, but I didn't know if I had latched it closed. And thankfully, it was unlatched. And but myself and my husband are too big to get into this window, so we had to get a boy and put a boy inside the house and tell them to go open the front, because they can open the front door, and the front door is unlocked from the inside. You just can't open it from the outside. So I tried to put Malcolm in there, but he started to kind of freak out because he didn't know what I was doing, even though I had explained to him what I was going to do before I picked him up. And I was explaining to him what was happening while I was putting him in. So my husband put Nathaniel inside the house, and once Nathaniel realized he was all by himself in the house and that nobody was in there with him, he started to get upset. And so I quickly unlatched the gate on this side of the house and ran around to the front door, because I know that they love the doorbell. And so I just kept ringing the doorbell. And I think it took maybe 2 rings of the doorbell for him to come out of the bathroom, look and see that it was me outside the window, and then open the door. So our soup was perfectly warm. I turned off the heat, so because the cheese tends to hold the heat in the soup, so I knew that if we gave it 10 minutes and came back in, that it would be cooler, and it ended up being kind of 20 minutes that we were stuck outside. Oh my goodness. But at least I know I can sort of scale a wall and land from an 8-foot high wall. I had my first introduction to parkour, as my husband likes to say. So that's the week in review. Knitting wise, I have something new in my sock bag. I told you that I was going to cast on. Do I not have? Oh, here it is. I hadn't put it in there. I was going to cast on the Knitted Wit sock yarn. This is her Victory sock. Superwash merino and nylon. And I purchased this in downtown Seattle. And this is her Felicia Cakes colorway. And I was trying to find out why it was named Felicia Cakes. And I haven't been able to find that out. At least not in my brief searching that I attempted. Here is the ball. It's just that natural wool color, and then it's got speckles and these neons kind of hanging out on the ball. Here is what I have so far. I'm just doing my normal vanilla sock pattern. I thought about maybe trying to do like a ribbed pattern on the cuff, but frankly, I'm just too lazy to do the purling. I just like doing the knitting, and it just zooms along. And I really like these parts where that kind of highlighter neon yellow pop up. They're very small, few far in between. It's just a fun little, it sort of reminds me of funfetti, to be honest. You know, like the funfetti cakes. So, this is currently the only thing I have on the needles. I'm still trying to find the perfect pattern for this blue and yellow yarn, the 50/50 merino silk. There's that blue, there's that yellow. Still haven't come up with anything good for it. And while my friend was here with his girlfriend, in thanks, they got my husband and I some gifts. My husband got some whiskey. I don't drink particularly much, or really at all. So he got whiskey, and then they ended up going to Blarney Castle, and in there's Blarney Woolen Mills, and they ended up getting me this gigantic thing of yarn, and it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's 12 skeins, of Aran wool. So I'm going to have a lot of yarn to do something with. I was thinking at first a blanket maybe. Sorry, Scout. But then I'm not sure. Knitting, when you quilt, knitting a blanket just seems insane, to be honest. So I'm thinking maybe like a nice snuggly cabley sweater that I can wear in the winter. So I haven't figured that out yet either. That's it for the knitting that I have. Sewing wise, I've got a couple of things. Like I told you earlier, I've closed up the sewing studio, as I'll call it. I'm currently starting to work on a tote bag. I'm part of the Modern Quilters Ireland, and we're having a tote bag swap. And so that's due, I think, the first week of September, so I need to get kicking on that. I'm waiting for some fabric to arrive over from the UK. And I've also been working on the September block of the month for the Southern branch of the Irish Patchwork Society. I've got it assembled, and I just need to work on the handout for that. We're going on another vacation around the time that we'll be going around the time that first meeting is in September. So I want to have this all done, T's are crossed, I's are dotted before we go. Well, obviously I'd have to have it done before we go because the meeting is the day that we leave. Anyway, when my mom and my aunt get here, my mom's going to be staying in the sewing room, so I again won't have like about 2 weeks to sew. So got to get things done, which is why I'm working on Christmas in July. Here are some Christmas presents that I have currently made because I'm cool like that. The first thing that I have made, well, one of the things I've made, these are all pillowcases. This is from some flannel that my mother was at Joann's, I think, for just some reason, finding fabric for herself, and she started texting me because I had asked her if she knew of any Plains fabric, the movie, the animated movie Plains. Nathaniel loves that movie, and he loves Dusty Crop Hopper, or as he occasionally likes to call him, Dusty Crotch Hopper. And so I said, see if you can find some Plains fabric. She was able to find some, which I'm going to make, I think, some sheets for Nate out of. But then she found some other things in the flannel department. And the boys have this Spider-Man shirt that flips up, and so it's got a Spider-Man head kind of on the main body, and then it's got this flap sewn on that when you lift up, Spider-Man is crashing through a window. And so I like to say, "Oh, where's Spider-Man?" and they go crash. So I made a Spider-Man pillowcase. And I know it doesn't really look like much, but there is a seam from a cuff here, which you can see, cuff. And the tutorial that I uses a French seam, so there's no exposed seams here. And that was fun. I hadn't done that before. So we have a Spider-Man pillowcase. We have a Batman pillowcase, and we have a Superman pillowcase. And my brother really likes Superman, and so he wears a Superman shirt, and prior to us getting to Vancouver on our last trip, they found a Spider-Man and a Batman shirt for the boys. Nate gets to be Spider-Man, and Malcolm is Batman. So Nate likes to talk about Superman because it's something that's related with Uncle Dustin, and he loves his Uncle Dustin. And speaking of Uncle Dustin, I have made him two upside down? Why do they look upside down? It's because they are upside down. There. Now they are right side up. We have 2 TARDIS pillowcases. And this is using the same tutorial website as the other one. The other one's just a simple standard pillowcase. This one is a tricolor pillowcase. And the way you create this is you have this cuff fabric and you lay it out flat. You add public side, this printed side facing you. You add this little, I believe it's a 2-inch strip of fabric that you folded in half. You line up the raw edges, and then you add the flat piece of main color fabric, and then you roll up the main color fabric, and you bring up the cuff fabric and do a seam with all of those layers. And then you are able to, from the sides, because you're doing this flat before you seam it, you're able to pull the main fabric out. And so it's like a burrito. It's the burrito method, they like to say. And this too is another French seamed project. And the way you do French seams is that when you sew your first seam, you have it out like this. So with your raw edges together, and this only has 2 raw edges because the fold is here. So you sew down here and then along the bottom edge as well. And then you flip it so the wrong side is out, and you sew another seam down those two sides that you sewed before, and flip it right side out, and voila, French seams. And it's so nice and just looks a lot more professional, and you don't have to worry about any little schmutz or any little fibers coming out. So here's the second one. So 2 TARDIS pillowcases. And I had to get extra fabric for this because I wanted to get the TARDISes facing the correct direction. And had I just cut it the way I cut these, it would have had the TARDISes like that, and then the cuff would have been here. And I just thought that I could take the extra time and the extra fabric to make it look professional. So there should be enough left over that I can make him a TARDIS fabric stocking as well. So, but I'll have to get working on that later because no sewing studio. I also have a new background. As you can see, we're in our usual front room recording with the big window and natural light. We love natural light. This is a print. Let me see if I'm going to tilt you back just a hair so you can see it and kind of look up my nose. This is a print that we purchased at a map shop at Pike Place Market. It is of Seattle, and I believe this is like the 1924 or the 1914 map that they have listed there. I think it was about $20, and we brought it back here, and I got it framed from the Ballin Colleague framing place that's down the road that way. And we're really pleased. I picked it up today and hung it up, and now I have a lovely Seattle background. The photos that were up there previously were from my husband's trip to India, which I've never been to India, so they didn't really mean much to me. But Seattle has my heart. It's where I consider home. So it's nice to have a reminder like that here. So I think I will bid you... Oh, I got one more thing that I wanted to show you. I've been spinning. This is that fleece that I showed you last week, which I still cannot remember what it is. I'm just trying to finish it up. It's like the fleece that never ends. And as soon as I get that bobbin full, I'll start plying, and then we'll have some yarn. not a Rambouillet. What is it? I totally forget. I think it's a CVM. I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look up for next time. Speaking of next time, I think with this recording, I'm going to run out of space for recording. So there won't be a podcast next week because I only have 400. Is it 400 megs? I think it's 400 megs a month. And when I crunch down the podcast, when I compress it, anything that's like less than 100 megs just looks really bad. So I will be skipping next week because of the storage issue. July had 5 Thursdays, so that's why. So I will be back in August, and I hope you all are having an excellent summer so far. I hope you're staying cool. I would ask for some of that weather. I don't really like the heat though. This weather has been completely in Ireland. I think we've had maybe a week of summer. Other than that, it has been very spring weather, gray, rainy. Yeah. Next Thursday is the 30th. So, I won't be recording next week because I won't have any storage. So, thank you for watching. I will have some things from the week. Probably some of the pictures from Old Head and Kinsale, and I can't think of what else, but it'll be cute little boys. So I hope you enjoy, and I shall see you next week, or in 2 weeks. So any month that has 5 Thursdays, you only get 4 podcasts. So I'll see you then. Bye.
Walk.